what's up, everybody? It's Rita Sekali, your Catholic girl on the radio. Welcome to today's episode, you guys. If you want to connect with me and talk about this episode before, we kind of start talking, if you want to connect with me, you can find me at The Word with Rita on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and on YouTube, it's Rita Sekali. Alright, so welcome back, everybody. So that brings us back to the original question that we had. Are you on top of your plan, God's plan for your life? Were the wise men on top of God's plan for their lives when they followed the star? My guess is yes, absolutely. That's how they ended up with the Messiah. Was it difficult for them to leave their homes and embark on the journey where they had to follow a star? Again, my guess is probably, undoubtedly. Were they disappointed when they reached Herod and it was not the king they thought? Most likely. Were they still following God's plan even though they felt disappointed at the primary result? Absolutely. Did they reach their destination? Yes, they did, and we remember them every single Christmas. Myrrh, frankincense, and gold. Gold fitting for a king, myrrh for the funeral, and incense befitting of God. Cool. Anyways, through God's divine providence and their dependence on the word that He gave them, they were able to make it. That's how they finished their destiny. They got to their destination. And at times, you are certain that this is God's plan. Other times, you're not. Take that information that you have and continue. God will not leave you. Continue praying, continue hoping, and continue with God. He will lead you to your destination even if He has stopped and taken some unexpected detour, just like He did with the wise men. Disappointed? I know. So were they. But they continued. And so should you. As always, continue loving God for better, for worse, for sickness and in health. Because He loves you and He is with you. That's it for today. Don't forget to do everything you need to do on social media so that we can connect together. It's at The Word with Rita on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you want to see the videos in general, go to my YouTube channel at Rita Sekali. So you guys, today we're talking about the wrong king. Sometimes you feel like you're on top of God's plan for your life. You probably say, okay, you got this. Other times, you feel like things are falling apart. Mind you, these sometimes and other times could very well be on the same day. So what then? Are you on top of God's plan for your life, or are you not? Here's the thing. The answer doesn't lie in the feelings, but in the journey itself. You guys know the three kings, the three wise men that were certain that they were following the star that would lead them to the newborn king? Right? They knew that this star would lead them to the newborn king. They asked around, and evidently, people pointed them to Herod, the king, because if there's a newborn king, then he has to be the son of the king, right? Yeah, okay. But he wasn't the one they were looking for. So I wasn't there, obviously. But I have a feeling that throughout their road trip, their emotions were all over the place. At first, they were probably indecisive. Should we embark on this journey? Should we not? What if we're wrong? Should we trust the information that we have? I mean, seriously, we're busting a mission here. We're following a star. Okay? If I were them, that's what I would be thinking. Like, should I take this? Should I not do this? I have all this information. Where could it lead me? My speculations is that they got closer to the star as they got closer to the star, their confidence grew. They were probably pretty sure that they were doing the will of God. Then they got to the city. They asked around, and behold, they found the king. Yes, they have found the king. But unfortunately, it was the wrong king. I'm sure they walked away confused, bewildered, and probably thinking, okay, so we followed the star. It and people led us here. But he was not here. Right? Isn't that what you would probably be thinking? He'd been walking for months, maybe. I don't know. They were in somewhere what we today call Iran, and they had to go to Jerusalem. And so that must have taken a while. I really don't know how long it would have taken, but it had taken a while. And for them to get to the king, and okay, so this is not the one we're looking for, obviously. Okay. So, I don't know about the wise men, but if that were to be me, if that was to happen to me, I'd probably be pretty disappointed. I'd be confused, and let's face it, I'd probably be pretty upset with God. Like, hey, I thought we had a deal. We just left our families, our whole lives, and came to worship this king. Well, this is not him, right? This would have probably upset me. But before we talk about a change of perspective, let's take a little break and then continue. Alright, so welcome back, everybody. Let's take a few moments to really think about it. What happened with these wise men? They followed the star, they reached the king, and that king gave them some information and set them back out on the road once more. Finally, they found the said newborn king. So what does that all mean? Sometimes we follow what we think God's plan is, and it leads us to a place we did not hope, or really we didn't expect to reach. That place provides us with the needed information to reach the place in which God is truly pointing towards. Think about it this way. If you are standing at the bottom of the hill and you need to go somewhere else, but you can't see it, so you don't know which direction to even head in. You go up the hill, you see the place where you want to go, and you walk towards it. Going up the hill is a struggle, but you had to go through that struggle so that you can see the place, so that you can start walking towards it. So maybe God is doing something in your life. Excuse the background noise, you guys. So maybe God is doing something in your life, and He got you to a place where you didn't think you would get there, or you didn't hope that you would get there. And you sat there and you wondered, why did God do this? Sometimes it's for personal growth. He led you through that trial so that you can grow, so that when the next stage of your life comes about, you are ready. Sometimes He takes you to situations so that you can meet that one person, and that one person can introduce you to other people, and those other people will lead you to where God wants you to be. Now, wouldn't it have been easier if you just met the other people? Sure. But that wouldn't have been possible considering their circle. So God had to make things easier. That He had to merge things. So for the wise men, I really don't know the history behind it, or I haven't looked at the history behind it apart from the Bible reading, but maybe they had information on following the star. but they didn't know exactly. So they needed to go to Herod. Otherwise, maybe the Pharisees wouldn't have welcomed them. So they needed to go to Herod so that the Pharisees would come and they would tell them where is the Messiah to be born, and they would point them in the right direction. This needed to happen. It needed to happen this way so that they could go from point A to point B, which is really not point B, but really kind of like point A to B to C to D, and then finally to the final destination. So consider it that way when you are looking at the situation in your life and you're thinking, okay, so why did God make me go through this trial? So that he can get you to where he needs you. Otherwise, you wouldn't have grown through it. There's always something to learn, and there's always something to do with God. So before we continue talking, let's take a small break and then come back.